Hey scrappers, welcome back to another video. Today I'm just going to be taking apart a whole bunch of random PC monitors. As you can see, I've already made a start on this one. And just go through it and see what we've got. And stuff like this, see this bit of a purple wire, pink purple wire here. It's a good telltale sign that this will have mercury tubes in it as opposed to LED. And there is another telltale sign which hopefully I'll be able to get to without too much effort. And please excuse the kids playing in the background. And there's not much we can do here in New Zealand at the moment with the level 4 lockdown the way it is. Yeah, that transformer there. This transformer here is also a giveaway if you haven't already seen these cables. But here, that's the transformer that powers this for the LEDs. For the mercury filled tubes. Just take off that little quartz crystal there. And I like to take off this sort of thing and put it into a separate transformers bin, because per kg it's worth more than just your average circuit board. I mean, circuit boards here are only 30 cents a kilogram, whereas transformers must be a bit more. I haven't taken out transformers for a wee while now, so I'm not too sure, sorry. Same with the brass on these circuit boards. I will, if I come across some that are brass, I usually just take them off just to add a little bit of value. I mean, brass is about $6.50 here a kilogram, as opposed to 30 cents for a circuit board, so to me it kind of makes sense to take them all off. Right, that over there. What have we got here? Small screws. So these cables, I do also strip these back somewhat. Like I'll strip all of the steel. Sometimes it's steel, sometimes it's stainless steel. Just to get this little bit of, I mean, it's, as you can see, it's not flash. Well, actually it is flash, it's gold flashing. But they're better than nothing. You know, everything I get I keep, because it doesn't, with the mindset that it hasn't cost me anything, you know, and everything can have a bit of money made from it, so it's just how I go. Some of you who are real busy see there's a little bit more gold flashing there. I just take my pair of scissors and just chop through it and just put it aside. And these ribbon cables, my scrapyard takes them, but I've seen them put them in the shred pile, but yet I keep them separate at home. I put them in their own little separate containers. Why? Because I'm not conclusively certain that just because I see her throwing them in the shred, the scrapyard doesn't, you know, naturally assume that they are shred. So when we come out of lockdown, I'm allowed to go out again. I'll take them down and I'll pick her brains. And you got your screen connections here. That's wrapped up in this black plastic. As you can see down here, the screen foils that connect to the control panel. And again, some people say that it's not worth your time really taking, putting this into the gold recovery pile, but again, just store it up. That's what I do. I just store it all up, and then when I get around to it, put it in the gold recovery solution. Right, so let's go a bit further into this. So from here forward, we kind of need to pry it all off, as it's all secure, so to speak, but it's not. As you see, a little bit of force and the popping off the safety tabs. Careful of course not to put that much pressure on that you crack the mercury tubes, because mercury vapor is not very pleasant to breathe. And also, if you cut yourself with mercury tubes too, there is a high chance that the cut could get infected, and that's not good for anybody. Sorry, I have to keep adjusting my camera as I'm still not 100% kosher with using these GoPros at the moment. It's just trying to find that niche, that good camera angle, that you don't have to keep adjusting everything all the time. And I find that sitting it on, having a little chest strap is the better option, because it gives the close-up here so you can see, but at the same time I also have to keep adjusting it. So please, I apologize if that's a bit of an issue. But here, can someone let me know, are these gold, or these foils, are they worth anything? Is there anything under this black piece here? It would be greatly appreciated. Next, and there's some more tabs here that got to fold back. Get a thinner screwdriver. And then here is just your various light diffusers, light reflectors. If you're an artsy individual, then you probably have quite a bit of an imagination and know what to do with those things. But these plastic bits here, these Perspex sheets are also quite durable, they're very thick. Probably 5 mil thick, 6 mil thick. And I personally use these for keeping cats and various other rodents out of my vegetable garden, you know, just to stop them from digging through it and using it as a litter box. But if you're an artsy individual and you have a vivid imagination, I'm sure these will be coming handy for you. Right, and this gives go into the steel pile along with this. These I also, sometimes these can be stainless, sometimes these can be aluminium, but as I say, here are your mercury tubes. So what I do to get them out is I take a craft knife and I slice along this taped bit with the cable all the way along, because as I say, if you try to take this cable off with these without taking the pressure off, when you lift the cable, there's a potential for the cable to pull against this connector here, and that'll snap the mercury tube inside. Single. They usually have a double filament in there. But there you go. And now we'll just check and see if it's steel. Well, this is actually steel. So you can also... Then we do exactly the same with this. Cut along each bit with tape. Take the pressure off as we lift the cable, the wire. It's a bit small to be cable. And we cut it to give us a starting point. And we just peel it through. We'll peel it up. And cut it off that side. I think I just snapped that. Oh, no I didn't. Maybe it's just one of the plastic retaining clips that was in there that you heard snap. But there you go. So, tell you how you can strip a monitor that has a little bit of gold, a little bit of, you know, poison, mercury. What was it? And that's pretty much about it. On to the next one. Right, here we are. This time we hopefully have an LED monitor to take apart. And then we'll be able to compare the differences between the mercury backlights and LED backlight. Essentially, so far it's pretty much the same. You have a circuit board, you have a ribbon cable. Now you see, with this ribbon cable, this gold, even if it is gold, isn't that shiny as the last one. And seeing as I don't have any proper way to test the gold, you could be putting in a foreign metal into, you know, cheaper metal. See, that almost looks like very, very yellowish. You could be putting a piece of foreign metal in with your gold. You don't know. And recently manufacturers have started using, you know, aluminium coated copper, or varnished aluminium rather, sorry, to use in smart motors and the likes. And you know, people who've been doing this and have actually suspected it have gone and thrown that aluminium varnished wire into the copper, thinking it was copper. But yeah, as I say, here's the, essentially it's the same thing so far. You know, just a circuit board with various inductors and the like. You know, I believe that might be an electrolytic capacitor, and your various connectors, your AV connectors, steel, steel, steel. Sometimes, as I said before, I just score. Yeah, it's brass. As you can see, it's all very dull yellow. And then I just pretty much just peel the brass cap off here and not lose it down the side of my bench. And then I just put that in with my brass. The rest I'll take off this little quartz crystal. Now these chips, are these chips here, are they just flat packs? Are they actually worth anything? And I also will remove these inductors here. Get little bits of copper out of them. I mean, every bit helps. And then they can just go in the circuit board bin. Goes in the steel, goes in the copper, brass cables can go over here, it's rubbish. And then we just have a little Phillips 0.75 driver. And as you can see, if you've got the time, taking apart microwaves, I mean, for those, as I said in my inverter video, some people say that you shouldn't take apart the magnetron because you run the risk of breaking the beryllium that they contain, and inhaling beryllium over long periods of time can cause adverse health reactions and effects. But if you're confident in doing it, by all means, but please wear, you know, PPE, a respirator and stuff like that, just in case something does happen. But once it's all taken apart and everything, like you can see over there, there's another one there, and it's full of, I just use the bodies as scrap to hold all my scrap, and I just take the whole body of the microwave in full of scrap, and it just helps us. It's good storage in the meantime while you're stockpiling all your scrap steel. As you can see here, sometimes there is very little. See how the gold has kind of been pulled away by the foils here. See, and yeah, it's tricky because now there's no gold on here, but now there's also no gold here. But maybe it's just the glue that they use to adhere it to there. Let's try a bit of brake clean on this rag and see if it removes it. No, it didn't. But as you can see, there's a thin, very thin film across the gold fingers there, the gold flashing. But anyway, we're just sticking the gold recovery bin. Let's see what happens later on. And here's your screen, your LCD screen. Let's put those foils aside for now, just in case someone answers my question in the comments. I'd hate to have thrown those away. And then find out, yes, they do contain certain maybe precious metals. Doesn't hurt to ask. So there you have it. Essentially, the builds are exactly the same. Difference being, I mean, your various reflectors, diffusers. Although in the mercury filled ones, it was very frosty, whereas here it's not quite as frosty, as you can see. You know, just here you can see the frosting on the plastic. See, and here you go. And there's your LED strip just down the side here. Let's see if we can remove those. And 9 times out of 10, these LED strips here are aluminium. They're mounted to an aluminium rail, so to speak. Yeah, that's aluminium. So what essentially I do is I just fold them up like so. And again, and then just chuck them in my aluminium bin. Here we go, another one down. Magnetic pickup tool. If you haven't got one ready, it's well worth the money. Makes it so much easier. Anybody else also have that problem? You pick up a screwdriver, you use it, you put it back down, and you go to try and find it. Like, you know, 5 minutes later, you're like, where on earth did it go? I know it was just here because I just used it. And you're standing here for like 30 seconds and it's sitting right in front of you and you're like, oh, there it is. Again, some people, you know, some scrappers out there have got bigger fish to fry. They'll be like, why are you wasting your time taking off 3 screws? Simply because I can. You know? I don't mind doing it, it doesn't cost me anything. And at the end of the day, it all adds up. And speakers, I used to take them apart. You know, the TVs and stuff like that, and I used to cut this middle piece out here, lift off the diaphragm, and then pull the copper piece out of the middle. But seeing as my scrapyard takes this type of cheap stuff, what they refer to as shred, because it goes through their big shredder, I don't need to worry about it anymore. And again, you get a small fee. And it adds to the weight, so you know, you're getting rid of rubbish stuff at the same time, so might as well, so to speak, cash in on it. Right, this goes in circuit boards. Cut off all the terminals. Is that gold? Possibly. Cut off the ferrite, the data cable into the mixed aluminium. What happened there? Where is my screwdriver? I was hoping by tapping that where I was, it was just going to shift it, past all these tabs holding it down, but wasn't the case. No. This, I don't think, is LED. As in the last one, there was no... See how there's transformers here? There were no transformers that size in the last one. But I could be wrong. Known to be in the past. Get told I'm wrong by my wife all the time. There's a nice bit of gold there. Gold pins. So, the scrapyard I go to two of them. Simply because I get better pricing from some stuff at one and better pricing for stuff at others. The likes of the TPS, as you will see in my last video. The pricing is $3 a kg, whereas at the other scrapyard I only get $2.30. So for an extra 70 cents, why not? And that's just, tin coated copper. But the likes of this data cable here, the other scrapyard I go to, they pay $2.30 a kg, and it doesn't matter if it's mixed or not, it's just one price for everything. So the TPS on top of that as well is included. It's kind of a bit of a necessary waste for those who who want to make some money. That's what I do. I just take them to different scrapyards for that reason. Pays to shop around, literally. So yeah, see these gold? These are just be gold platers, not necessarily gold pins as such. And that's just to stop any foreign contaminants getting in. As you can see, it's full of seeds. As sensitive equipment like this, anything once you reach the breakdown voltage, by overcoming the resistance, essentially anything is conductive, even wood. So yeah, I'll take off a little bit of these, like this chip here. Just take your craft knife again, being careful not to pull too hard. And if you feel any resistance, stop, because 9 times out of 10, once you feel the resistance, you put a bit more pressure on it, a bit more force, and that's when accidents happen, because you'll slip and end up slicing your fingers open. I mean, I find this the easiest way to do this. I mean, the blade's a little bit blunt from cutting everything else, but it was a nice cut. But yeah, I'll take those apart a bit further. So again, take a flat blade and just pry all this up. And remove the screws as you go. As you can see there, screws. They always slip in that one little screw that you don't seem to notice. It turns a simple job into an aggravation. Yeah, that's not LED. LCD with mercury backlit. See, perfect example. You don't take out all your screws. It ends up making it a lot harder. Just gonna have to deal with it. And make a mess out of that. There we go. And there's the other option. You can always just wiggle it around and it snaps off. Depends on your patience threshold. See, again, it's essentially one monitor. Essentially is the same as all monitors in the way they're built. I mean, so as you can see here, see how the gold didn't all come up and there is no like plastic film attached to this flashing. I don't know if that's just, you know, a thing with LEDs. But we'll see. Hopefully I can take another one apart and see if that's LED too. But this is definitely mercury. CCFL. There's some nice ribbons there with some gold on them too. Again, we've got to be careful not to put too much pressure on the frame along with the mercury tube runs. Otherwise could shatter it or break it. And then again, you got to scan the metal frame because there'll be screws within screws. And I think, don't quote me on this, I know, it looked like it was a little bit of aluminium, considering how easy it didn't really bend. Nope, that's steel. And once you've got or you break the LCD screen. Either way, that's ideal. But yeah, you can see the gold foils. Just slowly peel those off. Keep them separate from the yellow ones. So essentially LEDs are a little bit different, as you saw. You know, you don't have to worry about the stress of breaking them like you do with these mercury ones. And sometimes the manufacturers are like, let's make it really hard for anybody who wants to try and get into these. What am I talking about? Manufacturers. Some manufacturers these days don't have actually any support for their new products. There's a nice big, that one's even thicker than the last ones. But you see what I was saying? See how that's a lot more frosty? It's sort of squared, a little bit more frosty. These LCDs and mercury backlit, whereas the LEDs was lightly frosted. So again, same scenario. If you're brave enough to endure this, just run the blade the length of the housing of the mercury tube, and I just snip the backlight cable off. See now, is this stainless or is this aluminium? I think it's stainless. It's definitely not steel, so I think these are stainless. But you do get a few of them, which is really hard to tell the difference. I have a bucket of them to tell the difference. The way I tell the difference, when my family comes around to give me a hand on public holidays, my brother brings his blowtorch, and I use his MAP gas blowtorch to heat the steel, well, the stainless here up. Stainless steel will glow red and it won't melt and deform, whereas aluminium, as soon as you get a couple thousand-degree flame into it, will sort of melt instantly. It's instantaneous. There's definite no holdback on there. But it's hard at times. See this aluminium clamp in my hand here versus the stainless steel, well, what I think is stainless steel housing for the mercury tubes. But sometimes it looks just as shiny as this piece of aluminium, which makes it hard to take apart. And this back case is aluminium too. We'll just remove the brass lugs, some flush cutters, and just twist. And there you go, brass container. Now these ones here, as you can see, they're flush with the steel, and it makes it really hard to remove them. So if you have a high rise, just put your screwdriver in there, give it a slight tap, and it will pop it out. Try to use a flat rather than a round to stop it from shooting out, as you probably heard. Or just tap it a little bit more lightly rather than how I did it. There you go, some nice brass bits, brass container, nice piece of aluminium. Let's clean that up a little bit more. Take all these foreign contaminants off. That tape, I don't think I get that tape for you. So there you go, guys. I hope that was a bit of fun. I'll continue with the rest of them off camera and clean up these circuit boards. Take off these gold plated pins. Aluminum heatsink here. As easy as that. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.